Welcome to episode 91 of the PassioKnit Sprinter podcast. My name is Tracy. You can find me as Schnüffeltier on Ravelry and Instagram. There is a Ravelry group. Please come over and join. And thank you so much for being here. So, I'm back. I'm back in my podcast. I really wanted to podcast earlier, like in the beginning of the week, but I didn't knit since Sunday, so I just didn't feel like it. But here I am. I'm wearing a hand knit today. I'm going to stand up so you can see my beautiful sweatpants. So this is the Cable and Cowl sweater by Matthew Nagy. I knit this in 2013. It's a wonderful sweater. You start at the bottom front, knit it up here, increase for the sleeves, get a hole in for the, for your head, and knit all the way back down and just seam it up here. It's, like I said, it's a super enjoyable knit. It was a free pattern on Ravelry, but the designer and all of his free patterns have disappeared. I have no idea what happened, but you can't get them anymore and you can't find them anywhere else. It's just like he was swallowed by a hole. No idea what's going on. So I'm sorry you can't knit this, but I like it. I really like to wear it. I knit it out of Donegal tweed that I bought in Kilcar, County Donegal in Ireland at the mill directly. So yeah, I love this sweater. It was an enjoyable knit, and yeah, it's super warm, but like I said, I have no idea what happened to the designer. So good. Knitting in the past. I have one thing to show. I finished the socks for Tim. Here they are. I don't have blockers for these small feet, and I won't get them because, I would need 25 pairs. So until he has a decent size foot, we're going to work with this. Here they are. They are knit out of My First Regia by Schachenmeier. Okay, you get the idea. They are done. They fit him perfectly. And I have this much left of the second skein. They are 25 gram skeins. And, if he had a smaller foot, I could have gotten away with using just one skein, but I had to attach the second skein here. So this is the second skein. And I have no idea why, because I have the same color number, the same lot number and everything. But if you look at this sock, the dark blue is one stripe. And here, where I had to join the second, it has a stripe of light blue in between. I do not understand this because it looks different. It's the same lot number, say color number. Oh well. So, socks for the kid done. And this will go into his blanket because I'm using all blue yarns for his blanket, the mitered square blanket that I'm knitting for him. So this will just go in his blanket. That's it for knitting in the past. I really wanted to have a finished sweater, but that didn't happen because I kind of overdid it a little bit with the knitting. So my arms hurt down here and I really was afraid of getting a tendonitis. And so I stopped. I didn't knit since Saturday. And I went to my national practitioner yesterday and she did acupuncture and she said that my whole neck and shoulder area is so tight that it possibly is spreading down in my arms, and she doesn't think it's a tendonitis, which is good because that means I can knit. So now the evil thing that made my arms hurt so much is my sweater. It's the sweater that I am knitting out of my combo spin, out of a German magazine. This is the magazine. It's Sabrina Strickjournal Nummer 1 2018. And I am knitting sweater number 26, which is, where is it? Here it is. It's this sweater here. So this is what I'm working on. And like I said, I'm working this out of my handspun. I have a little thing with all the important notes in here. And the pattern looks like this. That's it. That's the pattern for the sweater. So I have done a lot. The yarn is, like I said, a combo spin. This is my last skein, and I have a bit. So this is the yarn I'm working with. And now let me show you what I have. I'm going to show you the front first. This looks a bit weird because I had to clamp it together with little tiny clampy things so that I could continue working on it. And yeah, I have both sleeves on one cable as well. So here we go. This is the front. And this is the back. It is amazing. It's gorgeous. It fits perfectly. I did try it on. And now I'm going to tell you why this looks so weird. It is knit in pieces all from the bottom up. You seam the whole thing together, you knit the collar. I am very short on yarn, so that wasn't my option. I couldn't do it that way. So what I did is I knit the back, I knit the front. And then I did a provisional cast on for the sleeves, because the sleeves, you can see here, are this ribbing pattern and then the cables and more ribbing. So what I did a provisional cast on here and did the ribbing pattern and the shaping for the sleeve, for both sleeves. Then I attached everything with the clamps because I didn't want to seam it together because I was lazy. And then I knit the collar. So everything in the top of the sweater is finished. Then I unpicked the provisional cast on. I put on the sleeves back on the needles, and I have currently these two balls that I'm working from. I'm knitting the sleeves both at a time on one needle because I have to reverse all the shaping and all the patterning. And I didn't trust myself to write everything down perfectly, what I did for the first sleeve, to repeat it for the second. So what I am doing now is I'm knitting the row for sleeve 1 and then the exact row for sleeve 2 and then just the wrong side rows. And that way I will have both sleeves complete at the same time, which is a good thing. And also they will be exactly the same. So now I'm going to work from these two until I run out of this. And then I will divide whatever I have left of this for my two sleeves. And I think I might end up with sleeves that are this length. We'll see. But yeah, I hope it was understandable what I just said. But yes. Can you see? It will be perfect. I'm really happy with this. But I've done so much knitting on it that my hands are stressed out. So yeah, that wasn't the best idea. So hopefully I can show you this one finished next week because I love it. And I really like the colors. I think it's going to be amazing. Oh, I'm knitting on US 7s, 4.5mm needles. And these are Diecrafts, the best needles I have. Good. That's the one thing. The other thing that I started is this one here. And it is a Flex Light by Tin Can Knits. I did not bring the pattern because, I think everyone knows what the sweater looks like. I popped the yarn on this yarn caddy. And the yarn that I am using is Ferna Wolle Baby Merino. I did not bring the tag because that is in the project bag where this should live. But I have started and it is striping like this. I think this will be amazing. So this is what it will look like. Can you imagine? It's going to be pretty. So I'm knitting this on my Looking needles. It's the first project that I'm knitting on them. I enjoy them. I don't really understand the extreme hype around them because they are not the absolute best needle that's out there. Because that for me is the Diecrafts needles. They are nice. They are good to work with. I enjoy knitting with them. But like I said, I don't really understand the Looking needle hype thing. If you want to get some, get some. They're great needles. I'm not saying they are shit. They're great. But I don't understand that. I don't understand a lot of things, so who cares? Okay, knitting in the future. I have one thing. I have put it here. I am going to start this sweater very soon. It's the Carbeth by Kate Davis. It is a cropped sweater with a really interesting shaping, and it is out of bulky weight on 6.5 millimeter needles. So yeah, I did a swatch. I swatched with 6 millimeter needles and 6.5s, which are I think US 10 and 10.5. And I liked the bit looser fabric better. So she knits it out of her own yarn, the Bua Chyle, and she holds it double. It's a sport weight yarn that she holds double to get it bulky. I do not have sport weight yarn. It's the one that I have the least of in my stash. So what I decided to do, I wanted to really use up my stash. So I found a bag of Regia 4-ply in black with 7 skeins in it. I have no idea why I bought these. I just don't know. So this is one of my strands. Then I have this yarn, which is, you know, these different colored strands. In Germany, we say it's gefacht. I have no idea what the English term for it is. So these two were a go. And then I was looking for a third lace weight to go with it. And I found this gray cashmere yarn. So these are the yarns I am going to hold together, which is a jumbled mess. But it knits relatively quickly. The only thing is I have to really look what I do, because I am this here has 6 strands on itself, and I'm holding 2 more, so I have 8 strands together that I have to take care of. So here's my swatch, and I really think that this sweater will be absolutely amazing. It's really soft and nice, and it will be machine washable because all of the yarns that I just showed are machine washable. So it's going to be a throw-on sweater. Just perfect. I also really want to make a second one, but you know, we'll get there when we get there. So that is what I have done. I need a swatch for this sweater. I'm going to start, and I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be really, really beautiful. That's all I have for knitting in the future. For spinning, I have some things. I finished yet another bobbin of the orange combo spin, not combo spin, custom spin. It's the orange custom spin. I have 1 kilo of this, and I've spun around half of it now. This was bobbin number 6, so I have to make 6 more. And then 3 more for the other part of this custom. Will you ever focus? I'm struggling with my webcam a bit lately. It doesn't really do what I want it to do. Oh yeah. I mean, I've showed these before. I just finished another bobbin. So I'm going to work on it. You know, I want to have it finished soon, so I want to work on it. And then, because I don't really just want to spin on things for others, I decided to start a combo spin for myself. And I prepared 2, and 1 I have started. And I just brought the fiber because I have the bobbin on the wheel and I didn't want to break it. So this here holds my combo spin fiber. And I'm just gonna show you. This is what it looks like. It's different greens, purples, browns. It will be beautiful. I have pictures of the fiber that I used and the torn strips on my Instagram. So if you're interested, go over, check it out. This is mainly BFL. I have 2 braids of BFL from Into the World. No, it's not Into the World. It's 3 Waters Farm. 2 braids, 3 Waters Farm. 1 braid BFL from Spinning Martha. She was a German indie dyer. She stopped dyeing a year ago. I have 1 braid of Colonial that I've never spun before from Blue Dog Fibers. And something else. I think 1 braid from Pick Perfect on Etsy. that was a BFL silk or something. It's almost all BFL except for the colonial that is nice to spin. So yeah, this is going to be really nice. I'm spinning it as worsted weight. I'm spinning it worsted. I do all my spinning worsted. I don't enjoy woolen spinning because I'm not good at it. So, but I am also spinning it to be a worsted weight in the end. So I'm actually hoping to have this done relatively soon because it's fun. And it's for me, which is more fun than spinning for someone else. But I promised I'd do it, so I'm doing it. Good. Now, that's it for the spinning. I feel like I'm rushing, but I don't have a lot to talk about because I didn't work on stuff for 5 days. So for new stuff, I have a bit of new stuff. I received this bag full of handspun yarn and leftovers from my friend Natasha for Tim's blanket. So these will all go in his blanket. And I think these, with what I still have and the yarn that I got from my friend, should be enough for the blanket. So this is, it's so generous. Look at this. It's 3 full skeins and then these gigantic skeins. I'm pretty sure these are almost full skeins as well. And then some leftovers as well. So this was super exciting to get in the mail. And then I have some new things from my friend Sandra. She's the indie diary behind Kunterbunte Wolle, and I have another 2 skeins from her because I can't not get stuff from her. I was at her house and I had to look at things, and then I came home with 2 skeins of yarn. And here they are. They are this minty green with colorful speckles. And I have already decided what to do with this. These 2 skeins give me 840 meters. That's around 900 yards. And that is enough for the body part of the sock arms pattern in my size. So these 2 will be the body of sock arms sweater. And I found a skein of 5.5 dyeworks self-striping in different mint and teal colors for the sleeves. So it's perfect. So this will become a sweater very soon. Then she also gave me this cowl. She made it for herself out of fiber that I destashed. That's the fun part. I destashed the fiber, she spun it up, knit this cowl for herself, and she can use it because it itches her, because she's very sensitive. I'm not that sensitive, you know, I have this on my skin here and it's not a problem at all. So she gifted it to me and I really like it. I'm going to put it on now real quick to show you. This is what it looks like. It's a nice and big cowl. In winter I can just shove it up and, you know, have it under my jacket, or I just can wear it like this and have it look nice. So I got this, and then I also got some fiber that she dyed. It's a BFL, I'm pretty sure, because if I look at it, it just looks like BFL. So here it is. It has this greeny teal color, some golds, and these deep purple in here. And she was spinning parts of, as she started spinning it, and I just looked at it and said, oh, the stuff you're spinning is really nice. And she said, you like it? Because I hate spinning it. It doesn't spin good. And I said, yeah, I really enjoy the colors. And, it looks like BFL. And I love BFL. And she just said, you know what? She broke it off. She had spun a tiny amount. And she said, you know what? Just take it. I'm glad when it's gone. So, yeah, I got this beautiful fiber. And I feel very blessed, I got the fiber. I got the cowl. I bought the yarn. It's all just wonderful. So yes, this will all will go into use now. I've showed it and now I can use it. And that's all that I have for new stuff. I've been very good. Like I told you last week or last podcast, I decided to use my stash as good as I can, and I only want to buy stuff in person. So I bought these 2 skeins because I was there and I could touch them, and that's it. So I'm very good. We're almost 3 weeks into the year and I'm still sticking with my resolution, which is, kind of good. So for reading, listening, watching, I have 2 books that I'm reading. I'm going to talk about those first. The first thing I'm reading on my e-reader, it's called Einsatzort Vergangenheit by Sandra Neumann. It's the first book in a 6-book series. And it is a time travel book. And I have no idea how to translate it. It's like, I don't know. Einsatzort. I just don't know what that means. But yeah, it's a time travel novel. I'm about a quarter into the first book. Like I said, it's a 6-book series, and they're all quite big books. You know, it's not like 200 pages. It's more like 400 to 500 pages a book. So it takes a bit of time to read those. Now I have to go back to where I was. I was at chapter 18. And I just don't know how to do it so it goes back there by itself. Okay. No, that was too far. Yeah. I'm almost there. I almost have it. Okay, I have it. I did it. Okay, so I'm at chapter 19 now. The main protagonist is a girl. I think her name is Laura. You see how invested I am in this book. And she's a teacher, which is always interesting for me because I'm a teacher. And it starts off in school, and you know, I'm not sure if the person who wrote it is a teacher, because the things she wrote about her working at the school is very different from my experience of working at school, but you know, I don't care. So, and she has a new colleague, and his name is Phil, and he's of course beautiful and perfect, and she isn't, because that is how it's, you know, it has to be. In her eyes, she's not. In his eyes, of course, she's perfect. And I'm sure they're going to fall for each other. It's already starting, you know, to be a bit of a romance thing. And by accident, she managed to push both of them into the London of the 16th century. And he is a time travel person, and he's quite pissed off that she managed to, you know, cling herself to him when he went into the past. And yeah, they're both in London now. They have to fulfill a task before they can go back, and they didn't know what the task was because they weren't supposed to go yet. And yeah, it's cliche time travel, but it's fun to read and I enjoy it. I just think that the main protagonist is a bit of a stupid girl, you know, like smart people can be very stupid, and she seems to be one of those people. So okay, so that's what I'm reading on the e-reader. Real actual book, I started this one here, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. It's a Beauty and the Beast fairy tale retelling. And I'm, you know, about quarter of the way through. I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. It's different. It's very different from what I expected. And still you can see the actual, you know, fairy tale that it's based on shine through every now and then. You say, oh, okay, that is familiar. But it's a good book. So far, I'm not sure if I really like the main character. Her name is Farah, and she's a bit weird. I think she's very, very, I don't know the word. You know, she gets sucked into the fairy part of her world, because it's her own fault, and she has to go with the beast, because, you know, it's the Beauty and the Beast. And she heard a lot about the fairies, and humans and fairies didn't mix for 500 years. So all the things she heard is like quite old stuff, and most of it I assume is not really true, because the few things she constantly repeats in the books that she knows as facts about fairies has been, you know, kind of emerged as not the truth. So I'm not sure, but I like it. I really like it so far. It's interesting. It's a fun read. It's a good read. It's easy to read. What I do not like about it is that the words are super, super tiny. It's like a very, very small writing. And also there are some words in there that I've never heard of. I mean, my English isn't perfect. I'm not a first language English person, but I can read most books without any problems. And here there are some words where I was like, huh? But then I just think it's a fairy tale retelling. And most fairy tales were written quite a long time ago and in a very different kind of language. So I think to honor that, she kind of used some older words that even people now don't use. At least that's what I'm thinking, because there are words in here that are just, yeah, no idea. But I don't bother looking them up because those words will never ever get used in my normal life, and I don't need them to understand what's going on, so I'm just ignoring them. It works. So these are the two things that I'm reading. What I am listening to, I finished Origin by Dan Brown. It's the 5th book in the Robert Langdon series, and it is like every other book in a series. You know, he gets sucked into a crime thing. He's the only person who can solve it. He has a beautiful woman at his side to help him. He is running from police, whatever. The only thing that's missing this time is one distinct artist that is, you know, all the crime is based upon. And there's also, what is the other thing that I missed? No, I think that's it. There's no artist that this is based on. Oh, and what I did, I listened to the audiobook in the unabridged version. And it's 19 hours long. And after 2 or 3 hours, I thought, I'm pretty sure this is what's going on here. And the longer I listened to it, the more I thought, that's definitely what's going on here. And then in the last 10 minutes, he told me that, yep, you were right. This is what's going on here. So that's a bit of a bummer, you know. When you know 10% in what's going on, and it is what's going on, I don't like that. You know, I'd rather have an idea what could go on, and in the end it's totally different and it surprises me, and then it's fun and exciting, and this is just like, yep, told you so. So I didn't really enjoy it. I loved the first two. I loved Angels and Demons and the Da Vinci Code. Those two were amazing, especially the first one, because the idea was so new. And the second one was still great, but the third, fourth, and fifth are just, it's the exact same story over and over. Oh, I remember what the other thing is that I missed. In the first book, it was all about symbols and an artist and the symbols that he used, that he did hide into his art. There were no symbols, or very little amount, and just a teeny tiny amount of artists people going on in this book. So yeah, it's a good read, you know. I mean, his writing style is still good and it's still suspenseful and everything, but to be really honest, it's the exact same story in a different city with a different girl next to him, and I just didn't like that. So good. I'm watching Teen Wolf because I love Teen Wolf. We all know this. I finished season 3, I watched season 4, and I started season 5 because I really want to get through season 5, rewatch the first part of season 6, and then for the first time watch the ending, the last 10 episodes, because I have not watched those yet. But I will. Good, that's the Teen Wolf part. Now, for sewing, I have 2 things to show. The first thing is one of the Hollyburn skirts that I had cut last time. I made it up. I decided to go with the denim skirt first. This is denim with white polka dots, and I used white thread to sew it. So this is the pocket. It has 2 pockets. These are wonderful pockets. I also used a white zipper. It's an invisible zip, but I never can get it to be invisible in this part. But, you know, my sweaters always cover that part, so who cares, really? And I also, again, did the hem with bias binding. So all the pieces are serged so they won't fray, and I did bias binding for the bottom to finish it off. This is my 4th Hollyburn skirt. They're all in the same size because, you know, they're all for me. And I just love this. I love this skirt so much. I have 4 more cut, 2 more fabrics to go that I want to cut and make. So I cannot stop making this skirt. I love this skirt. And I actually think that this skirt would look amazing with this sweater. So I think this denim version will get a lot of views. And I also want to make another denim version with no polka dots, just denim, to have a classic denim skirt. And I had quite a bit of fabric left over, which was good because, oh, I left it over there. Oh, and I forgot something for new stuff. I'm going to show it in the end. I used the leftover fabric from my skirt to make a project bag. And I made this project bag. It is for me. It is my project bag. I bought the embroidery file from Embroidery Library and embroidered it up. And then I made this project bag. It's for me. It's going to be my Edinburgh Yarn Fest project bag because I'm going to Edinburgh Yarn Fest. I'm going to be there all 3 days. I'm going to fly out on Tuesday, so I'm there already on Wednesday. I will go to the festival Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and I'm going to fly home on Sunday. So this is my Edinburgh Yarn Fest project bag. And I have a zipper pull that I put on. It is a stitch marker that a local friend made when she made me a set of Outlander themed stitch markers. And it is the thistle. And it doesn't focus. It drives me crazy. But it is the thistle. And the beads are blue, green and purple. So they go perfect. I love this bag. I showed it to my husband and he said that it's beautiful. And later I said to him, you know what? I think this might be the prettiest project bag I have ever made. And he said, yeah, I thought so too, but I didn't want to say because I didn't want to insult the other ones he made. But I'm just so in love with this. It's just beautiful. I did zipper taps again to make it look nice and just clean and finished. And yeah, this is for me. I'm very happy with this. Really happy. So yeah, this is my project bag for Edinburgh that I made. And yeah, I'm just happy with it. The next thing I want to sew is a jacket for my son. And it is in a German sewing magazine. It's Nähtrends 1 2018, the first issue of this year. And it is this jacket. I am not sure if it will fit because it's in here in 3 sizes. It's a 4T, 6T, and 8T. And Tim is 2.5, so he turns 3 this year. So I'm not sure if it will fit or not, but I'm going to make the smallest size. If it fits now, great. If not, he'll grow into it. And I'm going to use soft shell fabric for this. So this is what I have decided to make. And then I'm going to show these later. So that was it for sewing. And then I still couldn't knit. So what to do? And I decided I wanted to finish the blanket that I started weeks and months and years ago, actually, that I wove. I wove a long strip of fabric. I seamed it together in the middle. And it has yet to get a binding because I'm so afraid to fuck it up, actually. So it's been laying and laying and laying and waiting. And then I decided, you know what? I did warp my small loom. That's a sampled loom by Ashford. And I have it here. I have a big rigid heddle loom with a 32-inch weaving width. And I have this small loom. This is the sampled loom by Ashford. This here is the actual heddle that just fell out. So I had warped this one for Tim with leftover yarns in different blue and white shades and put different orange and red and purple things on the little shuttles. So he could weave on this while I wove on my big loom because I didn't want him to screw up my weaving. So, and he did like 3 runs and then he decided that was not as much fun as he thought it was. So I had this warp on and I had all the shuttles ready to go. I had put them in this basket for him, you know, and he just didn't want to do it, which is fine. You know, he's 2.5. I didn't expect him to become a weaver. So I had this on the loom, which meant that I couldn't use the loom. And I have something started on my big loom that I don't want to work on. So what I did is I finished the things that I had put on for Tim. It was a strip. It was about maybe a meter long. And with a meter, you know, it can't do anything. So what I did is I made a little blanket to simulate the process for my big blanket. And this blanket is for Tim's toys. So yeah, like I said, my warp was white, different teals, dark blue. And the weft was all these orange, yellow, and purple tones. And I first thought this is going to be the ugliest thing ever. But I have to say, now that it's woven up, I really like how it turned out. I think it looks amazing. Then I looked for fabric to go with it, and I came up with this star fabric. And I still suck at attaching a binding. And yeah, so this is the star fabric. I did sew the binding on like a quilt binding, and I did do it with the machine on the back as well. So yeah, this is his little toy blanket that I made. It's totally reversible because the stitch that you do to attach these to each other is a very flat stitch. You can see it here. If this will ever focus, you might be able to tell that there is no seam there. And also not on this side here. It's just flat. So yeah, this is his blanket now for his toys. And this is the exact same thing that I did for our blanket. I seamed it in the middle, and it's just, you know, a little bit bigger. And I got a gray fabric for the binding. So I now know what to do. I attached the binding with my walking foot that I bought especially for this project and that I will use for quilting and things like that. So yeah, this is the weaving that I did. And I have a little bit of this left. This piece is left over. And I'm going to use this piece with this leftover denim and make another project bag for me. Somehow. Not sure yet how, but I'm pretty sure it will look like all my project bags do, you know, with the patchwork style. So yeah, I actually have weaving. I haven't woven in forever. And it felt great. What I did, I normally, when I weave stuff, I take it off the loom, I finish it off, I wash it and pop it in the dryer. Even if it's a yarn that could felt. I just pop it in for a few minutes because when you weave, I can show it to you. You want the yarn to bloom so it fills the holes. And you can, when you look at this is very uneven and doesn't look super nice. This is not treated at all. And for this, I didn't want to wash it. So what I did was I put a piece of fabric on top and I sprayed it with water to be really wet. And then I ironed it. So it was like steam blocking basically. And maybe you can see the difference that it made. So this is steam blocked. And this is not worked on at all. I think you can tell there is a difference. I can tell there is a difference. So I'm going to have to steam block this part before I can use it. And this will go to Tim now for his toys. So yeah, that's my weaving, and that is everything that I have finished. Now for everything else, I'm first going to show you what I totally forgot to show in new stuff. I custom ordered 2 notions pouches because I wanted to use one of these. This one here. I'm going to show you the interior in a minute. I wanted to use this to hold my Lucky needles. And although it is beautiful and perfect, it's not for the use that I intended it to use for. I can't use it for that. So, but I will show it to you. I got 2. They are from Mini Castle Designs. I chose Harry Potter fabric for this one. And it looks like this on the back. Here is her logo. It's Mini Castle Designs. The shop is on Etsy. It closes with one snap magnetic button. And this is what it looks on the inside. So here it has a zipper pocket. that has a zipper pull that's a mini castle, you know, to stick with the theme of her name. So this is the zipper pocket. It's nice and big. It's the whole thing. And over here it has slots. And I have 7 pairs of Fluke needles, and these are 7 slots, so that would have been perfect. But when I put the needles in here, as these slots are so big, I close it up and I hold it this way and everything falls out. So I can't use it for what I wanted it to use for. And to be quite honest, I'm not sure what to use it for now, but I will find something. So yeah, this is my Harry Potter one. It has the wizards on the inside and the platform 9 3/4 ticket on this side. And the other one that I got is this gnome holiday print on the outside because it's really sweet. And on the inside, there's more gnomes and this poinsettia. Is that how you say it? Fabric. So yeah, I'm actually not quite sure what to do with it now because, you know, I can't use it for what I wanted it to use for. So this will stay with me for sure. This one might go in a gift box, or I might do it as a giveaway sometime on the podcast for something. I don't know yet. But they are very well made. I ordered them like 2 weeks before Christmas, and she does these as custom orders, so you can choose your fabric that you want. And she sent them out, I think 4 days later, because she had hoped that they would arrive before Christmas. And of course they didn't, because German post sucks sometimes. And I received them in the beginning of January. And she's super nice to work with. They are very well made. They are very good price-wise. So, you know, they are not super expensive, but they are worth what they cost. You know, I think she should charge more. But that's my opinion. Yeah, like I said, this is mine for sure. This might be given away on the podcast sometime. I don't know yet. We'll see. Then the other thing I wanted to talk about is last year I did a lot of knit-alongs, and then, you know, I kind of didn't participate in any and didn't talk about it anymore because I was so stressed out with everything that was going on. And I decided to not do knit-alongs this year, or not for now. So I did close all of those threads, but I decided to give one person a prize and send her a prize package. And I have to check her name because I totally forgot to do that. Or I will announce it next week who it is. But there's one person who participated all year long in all of the knit-alongs and the spin-along and just kept up with everything. And I want to send this one person a special package because I'm just very honored that she kept up with it when I didn't. And yeah, like I said, for this year, I'm not going to do anything for now because I'm too stressed out. And also, I saw on Instagram all the Make 9 plans for everyone, for sewing people, for knitting people, for those who do both. And I thought about doing one, but I just changed my mind way too often. I mean, just try to remember how many things I showed for knitting in the future and how many of those I actually knit. I have a lot of ideas and a lot of plans, and I just see something else and decide to not do what I had planned initially. So what I could do instead of a Make 9 is I want to cast on 35, but that is not really interesting to anyone, so I didn't do anything like that. And then the last thing, last week, after my podcast, I put up a thread on the Ravelry group and a poll on it. If you were interested in doing VKNs, virtual knit nights, that you do on your computer at home with a webcam, and you all meet in a chat room, in a video chat room, and then you can, you know, talk to each other, show your projects, maybe ask questions if you have a problem with your knitting, or, you know, something went wrong and you're not quite sure what. I wanted to do something like that. And I asked their opinion if you were interested, and quite a few people were. So I'm going to look into the technical side of this with the help of my husband, of course, because I'm too much of a technic idiot to do this. And we will decide on something. I will announce the date, the first date for this next week. I'm thinking I'm going to do it probably Friday evening, 9 o'clock my time, because then people from all around can join in. And yeah, like I said, I'm going to announce next week when it is going to happen and how to do it. And I'm going to put up a thread in the Ravelry group as soon as we know how it will work. And then we'll just try. And that is it for this week. I don't have anything else to talk to you about. I hope I will be able to knit again because, you know, not knitting sucks. And yeah, I think that is it. I hope you all have a wonderful week. I will talk to you hopefully again next week. Not sure what's going on, but we'll see. And until I talk to you again, enjoy everything you do and be nice. Bye.